It'll all come clear as mud on Saturday the 14th.
I'd like to go ahead and call the Chickasha City Council meeting to order. Need a roll call, please.
Hatchett.
Here.
Irving.
Here.
Ginn.
Here.
Hebblethwaite.
Here.
Smith.
Present.
Alexander.
Here.
Burris.
Here.
Southard.
Present.
Crescent.
Here. We will have the opening prayer by Charlie and the pledge by Erica.
Please join me in prayer. Our Father God, we thank you for our community and every blessing that's been bestowed upon it. We ask tonight that you let those speak freely that want to speak, those that have information for us, those that have decisions to make. We ask that you shed light on things that we'd make them in a spirit that's the best for our community, our friends and neighbors, and hopefully pleasing.
We have some citizen comments this evening. We'll start off with Jan Gaddis.
Thank you, Mayor Grayson. I appreciate that. And
You're welcome.
council members. My name is Jan Priest Gaddis, and I have a very serious interest in this town. And I appreciate my 3 minutes. I'm not quite sure when it starts, so I'll be quiet.
About 10 seconds ago.
About 10 seconds ago. Fine. I am here to, regarding your item number 4, consideration and discussion items number A. And I'm asking you to take deferred action on this particular conveyance for several reasons. And also, I noticed you have the legal description, but it would help commoners if you could get a common language that said, more commonly known as the airport, the land. And yes, it has been there and it hasn't been used, but I'm suggesting to you that's not the issue. And I will just very quickly, since I have 3 minutes, the powers that have to be exercised by a municipality must be found in express grant of power or with a fair intent for the purpose of the creation, or they must be regionally proper to give effect to the powers granted. I do not believe that the process that you've gone through has been complete and thorough, and I don't believe you have the power to do the sale that you have done without also incorporating possibly a vote of the citizens of this town, because these statutes have to be strictly construed, and it's construed against the municipality itself. And with regard to the sale of this land at the airport, there are several issues. It's property that is held for public use, and it cannot be sold without specific legislative authority. And I cite State versus Ramey, 559 P. 2nd, 1235. Also, that the property that is held by municipality in trust for public and not in its proprietary use can be, the municipality is without power to alienate it. And there are several different things with regard to this, and I believe the steps that have been taken are not sufficient. Once again, out there, while it may have, as they say, 30 acres or so of grass, I would also suggest to you that is public use and it's for the benefit of the citizens of Chickasha, and that you have to go through some additional steps with regard to that. Also, I don't know if it has been real transparent with regard to how it was surveyed, when, who initiated, how it was appraised. I'm not sure if there was only one appraiser or you had several, but there are several factors even in the process, though I realize you're now at the end of that. But I know there's 3 new council members for the most part, that I think it's their third meeting. There's a lot with the city council, and you need to understand the underlying effects of these decisions. It's just not a matter of selling a piece of land like you're selling your home. And I encourage you to consider just pausing for a while and going back over and seeing how you can do this in a more effective way. Because this is the airport trust, and so it's been held in trust for the public, regardless of how previous the last several decades have done with or not done with it. So I would encourage you to look at this. And also, I encourage you new council members, maybe the current ones, to please have your staff attorney make you well-versed in the case, McGirt versus Oklahoma. And if you don't even know what I'm talking about, we are, Chickasha, Grady County, all of this, we are in a sovereign nation. We are not subject to we're not in the jurisdiction of the state of Oklahoma anymore. You need to work concurrently with the Chickasha Nation with regard to things. And I know most people think it is in relation to law enforcement. That may be short-term, but there is long-term issues and implications, and you need to talk with the tribal attorneys, and you need to talk to the other people with regard to sale of land and how this is going to be handled. And I know there's great plans for it and so forth. But once that's sold, you lose degree, some control. And we've got an airport that is historic out there, the W&B Flying School from World War II, and just think this Friday is D-Day, and Saturday you all are having a fly-in. So it's kind of interestingly timed. But I encourage you to just defer this action until you step back and look at some things and see how it was titled from W&B to the current, how it sits in the municipal trust, and how this is and how the citizens of this town are affected, and that you may have to step back and have a vote of the citizens to approve this property that is in a municipal trust. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan.
Thank you.
Next citizen is Dr. Shante Alexander. And Jan got about 5.5 minutes, so Dr. A, I'm gonna let you do the same.
All right. Thank you. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Evening.
To Mayor Grayson, City Manager Jim Crosby, and Chickasha City Council members. My name is Dr. R.P. Ashanti Alexander, and I stand before you tonight to seek your assistance in correcting what I believe is a grave and insulting error. Over a year ago, on January 22nd, 2024, I submitted to the Chickasha City Council leadership in the persons of former Mayor Chris Mosley and former City Manager Keith Johnson, a letter from the Chickasha Tri-County branch of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP, and I provided you, I think everybody should have copies of that. In that letter, I stated, in my request to the City Council on January 16, 2024, that I reminded the council that since 2024 would be the 76th anniversary of the United States Supreme Court case Sipple versus the Board of Regents of the University of Oklahoma, January 12, 1948, we as a city and school district could and should do more to recognize Dr. Fisher than to identify a partial street named in her honor. It was Dr. Fisher's Supreme Court case that laid the foundation for the passage of the 1954 Brown v. Board of Education versus the United States Supreme Court, which was against the University of Oklahoma, which ended legal segregation in American life. To that end, we are requesting the following: that an Oklahoma historical marker be placed on the grounds of Lincoln School, where Dr. Fisher graduated in 1941, noting the American and the Oklahoma and American historic significance of what Dr. Fisher accomplished. Also, naming the bridge crossing the Washita River on the H.E. Bailey Turnpike entering Chickasha to be named the Dr. Ada Scipio Fisher Memorial Bridge in her honor. Although I noted in the correspondence that I looked forward to hearing from the leadership of the council, I never did. Imagine my surprise on May 16, 2025, when I was asked by a media representative about the bridge east of town being named in her honor. Being surprised, I simply responded, "To God be the glory, and ain't God good?" But as I reflected on the action by the state and the city regarding this token acknowledgement, I felt slighted and disrespected. Let me explain. So that it does not appear that we are unappreciative of the early support for this recognition, the problem is that what was approved was not what we asked for. Number one, despite having initiated the request and serving as a councilman at the time, I was not consulted, involved in collaboration, or informed about the progress of our request. Number two, my letter never indicated that we wanted Highway 62 bridge to be the designated area. The bridge location was the bridge crossing the Washita on the H.E. Bailey Turnpike. That designation, or their designation, came off to me as, "You will take what we'll give you and like it." This letter is letting all know that we don't like it. We can do better. Number three, Dr. Ada Scipio Fisher has family, and no one considered that important enough. And I believe that such an important event, a matter, something significant to Chickasha, the family should have been notified and made aware of events that would be planned. It wasn't. Number four, designating the Highway 62 bridge rather than the H.E. Bailey Turnpike in her honor is paramount to her being admitted to the University of Oklahoma Law School, but not allowed to attend the class because of the bigotry and racism of the University of Oklahoma. You do not know, and maybe you do know, that as an OU law student, Dr. Fisher could take the classes inside the school, but she had to sit outside the hall away from the students for instruction. In closing, when I began this letter, I needed the council's leadership to assist me in correcting a grave and insulting error. What can correct this? We can correct this by doing the following, I believe. Provide written and electronic notification to the family of Dr. Fisher noting this event has taken place and will take place. Comply with our initial request that the name H.E. Bailey Turnpike Bridge crossing the Washita River be named the Dr. Ada Scipio Fisher Memorial Bridge, not the section on Highway 62. Support the school's effort, because I sent a letter and you got a copy of the letters, the return receipts, that I also sent one to the school district, because I think that acknowledging that Dr. Fisher attended Lincoln School in Chickasha, America, is significant in terms of the climate that created her and the people that supported her during that time. And then number four, repost the signage of Dr. Ada Scipio Fisher Memorial Bridge from Highway 62 to the bridge on H.E. Bailey Turnpike over the Washita as we initially requested. Finally, we believe that doing less than what we are requesting would not be in keeping with the justice that Dr. Fisher dedicated her life to. Sincerely, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. A.
Thank you, Doctor.
Mayor, may I ask a question of Dr. A?
Typically don't during this because it's not on the agenda, so
It's pretty simple.
go for it.
Dr. A,
Yes, sir.
is there a sign on that state highway bridge now?
Yep,
I'm sorry that I haven't noticed it. Thank you.
it is, yes,
Thank you, Mayor.
thank you.
Very well. On to section 3, council communications.
I'd like to welcome Miss Rachel back, and
Yes.
congratulations.
Everything's going great, I'm assuming? Good.
First day at work. Council Monday.
Oh,
Welcome back.
Long day back.
Welcome back.
the real deal will be, how did Dad do when you get home? Again, congratulations, Rachel.
Any other?
I want to say well done to Grady County Sheriff's Office and Chickasha Police Department. Today, they tore down a drug house.
Yes.
Do what?
Code enforcement.
Code
Yep.
enforcement? Well done. Well done.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I saw your crew leaving at, what, 7:30, around 7:30 this morning when I was coming up here for a meeting?
And
They
that's
had
two
it
blocks.
almost put in dumpsters this afternoon.
Yeah. 2 blocks from my house. I get all of that walking, so I'm hoping that's gone. Bunch of,
Anything else? All right, let's move on to. Item 4, consent docket.
I move we accept the consent docket as presented.
Second?
Mayor, I was hoping to pull something there. Am I too late on that?
I'm sorry?
Pull something for discussion on that.
We have a motion and a second, so if they want to rescind theirs, then you can, but right now we have a motion and a
I
second.
guess we can discuss afterwards. Is that right?
We can, we have a motion and a second, we can discuss the consent docket items right now if you'd like.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
It's 4A, I believe. It's about the minutes. And I'll take my neighbor's help here. I thought at last meeting, we had some comments about things during the communications portion, and then the subject of the railroad crossings came up and the blocked crossings.
I mentioned that in
At a different time?
council communications.
Okay, I didn't see that in the minutes. Is there a way to rectify that?
Susan,
Yep, I can add it to it. We
Okay.
can approve amending that.
just want to mention that you brought up the.
Well, there was some chatter about it. I remember you brought it up, and I think we interacted with council on it as well. And it's a worthy thing about our community that I felt like we should, what do they say, have it memorialized
Yeah.
in our minutes. So thank you,
Good
everyone.
catch, Charlie. Any more discussion? Roll call.
Hatchett,
Yes.
Irving,
yes.
Ginn,
Yes.
Hebblequate,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Alexander,
Yes.
Burris,
Abstain.
Southard,
Yes.
Grayson.
Yes. Item 6A, discussion, consideration, and possible action to authorize the city manager to enter a consulting engagement agreement with the Colligan Group. I'm sorry? Co-line. I wasn't the best at phonics in school. Co-line Group.
I make a motion that we enter into a consulting engagement agreement with Co-Align Group.
That sounds way better than Colligan.
A second.
Discussion?
Yes. This seems so cart before the horse. Council, at least this counselor, was not aware of the matter being presented before this packet came out. And it seems to be based on something from that we won't know about till the future. which would be Thursday's big announcement that we've been hearing about. And it just doesn't seem proper that we do business on something. That's what, a cart before the horse is what comes to mind on that. That doesn't seem transparent. And maybe there's been times in the past, I'm not talking about you, Jim, I'm talking about times in the past that it feels like in our community that we may have cut corners. And if not legally, but morally on some of this. And I'm just, how do I answer to a citizen right now? Why would you approve something before we even know what's happening?
I think this is one of those situations where we're trying to get ahead of the curve. Because if you're reactive, you're going to be always behind. Whereas if you're proactive, you're out in front. Especially when it comes to economic development, you want to be out in front. You don't want to be playing catch up.
Well, what's the danger of a couple of weeks? I mean, that's the big concern I bring with this item, and perhaps the next one too.
Does this put us into contract to have to go forward with it, or does it just give our administration permission to start the negotiations and to start the process once the announcement is made? You see what I'm saying?
Right. I think it's just authorizing the city manager to do this. It doesn't say he has to do this. It authorizes him to do this. And there's no sense, you're absolutely right, there's no sense in doing this until we find out, what's gonna happen on Thursday and what's gonna happen later on in this meeting with the Chickasha Municipal Airport Authority. But it's authorizing Mr. Crosby to do this in the event that we need it. I think that's pretty much right, Jim, isn't that correct?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
And I believe that Jim and staff are aware of what their needs are. They're the ones that put this, staff presented this.
Great.
So they're the ones that know in their best judgment, since they're asking us to approve it, this is another tool they need in their toolbox, they feel like.
But all actions have to come back to the council for approval.
Correct.
Any type of agreement or anything coming up will come back to the council for its approval. We can't enter into any kind of contract without council approval. As things go forward and develop, it'll all come back to you for all the development, the planning, the plats, whatever goes down out there, all that will be before this council.
This is actually just letting you have the capability of opening the door.
Right.
Yeah.
What happens with this agreement? I read it, but what can I explain to a citizen? What role does this agreement play, Jim?
I understand your concern that the announcement coming up Thursday, I think a lot of people don't realize the amount of money that's is proposed to be developed for our community. What these contracts, before the next two contracts come before you, will be to develop a plan out there that will protect the city, make sure if a TIF or anything comes developed, that money will come back to this city, not only to cover any expense that we might have, but also to garner some of the taxes and things that come back that would normally go to other places, that will come back for us to develop things for the city, fix roads, streets, recreation centers, other items. And I think it's very important that be proactive and try to protect ourselves and make sure that we develop a plan to do that. And again, these items have been discussed for some time, and if you look at what goes on, I think it's a good thing to be proactive and to move forward and get this going. And again, that's council decision what you want to do, but again, Nothing's in concrete at this time and will not be until the council approves anything that moves forward.
If I may, as I looked at this contract, and I did go over it, and I'm one of those people that, okay, I've got some figures here, so I started putting it all together and mapped that out. And what this is a consulting agreement with an agency as opposed to an individual. So we have, instead of one person that we would, if we tried to do it as a city, we would have to hire an attorney who could do this work, and this work exclusively, who's an expert in the field of economic development. And that's very difficult to do, for one. And two, if you do it with a consulting firm, which is what Coaline is, at this base price, as I ran the numbers, it's about the same salary as hiring somebody on the city staff without having to do a retirement fund, insurance, and things of that nature. So you've just hired an expert, and they're going to give advice. And so as we go along, they'll clarify well, you can or cannot do this. And as Jan came up earlier today, as we go through legal issues with this this venture here, and I think it's a great and worthwhile effort, we need to have an expert essentially at our beck and call. And so that's what this is about. At least that's my opinion. And so there you go.
And we're not actually gonna sign an agreement with them. It just gives the capability of letting Jim go and make, or Mr. Crosby, make him in the position where he can do that. Because we're not gonna do anything until well after Thursday. So, I mean, if it doesn't fit us, we don't have to do this. And we don't have to do it as a council, because we'll get a vote on it.
Is anybody free to speak about what the 2-week wait would, what's troublesome about waiting a couple of weeks for the next meeting?
I don't think it's gonna change anything by waiting. What's gonna happen is gonna happen as far as what the announcement's gonna be Thursday. And like I said, the further you fall behind, business and economic development happen at the speed of light. And you wanna be in a position to take advantage, strike while the iron's hot, if you will. And if this isn't a good fit after Thursday and Jim deems it not a good fit, then it's not gonna happen. But like John was saying, this just gives him the ability to enter into that agreement if it's what's gonna be in the best interest of the city of Chickasha.
Would it, in that case, would it limit just to what's happening at the airport? And if he doesn't move forward with that, we would not have, Amanda, I'm kind of looking at you on this one, we would not have the worry of, oh, we've given Jim the license to hire this group on another deal. Or how would you say that reads?
Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the intent of even entertaining the idea of a contract with this group is because of what's going on at the airport. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
First of all, this is the same group that did previous TIFs for the city and moved forward. The work that's going to go out there, in my opinion, is something that is going to make a major impact to the community. Probably the biggest impact we've had in the community and will probably ever happen in the community as far as money spent. It's something that can go forward, and I think we at times need a little bit proactive and start working for it. We need to start protecting the city. And TIFs are good for two things. There's some great TIFs and there's been some bad TIFs that have been done in the United States. I think we need to do one that's a little bit different than the ones that have happened in the past, and even some that we've talked about in other areas that we did many, many years ago, to come up with a TIF that would really benefit our community and bring money back into our coffers to do improvements for the city. This is what we're trying to get with this contract. And again, before any development happens, like anything else out there, there's going to have to be a plat brought in, a design group brought in, tell them what's going to happen, and everything has to come back to this city and to this council for approval. And I think that is true of everything that goes on. Zoning, if it has to be changed out there, improvements. But if a major improvement has to be made, we would like to see us be reimbursed. This is a protection for the city to make sure that happens. If anything happens, we are reimbursed for our monies that we spent. And this is the beauty of a TIF of this type for commercial and industrial development. And again, it's up to the council. This is, like I say, same firms that have done it in the past for the city. And it's something I think is essential. Whether you approve it tonight or in the future, we're going to have it to go forward.
Now, Jim, when you say protect the city, this is what I interpret that as, and just I'm speaking out loud so you guys know what I'm thinking when he says that, is that he's talking about protecting the city, talking about a TIF. Well, what we're talking about is the infrastructure improvements out of that land is going to create more ad valorem tax. Well, ad valorem, as we know, city does not have any hand in that pot unless we use a mechanism like a TIF or something like that to be able to get some of that ad valorem that we would not otherwise have at our disposal. And with that ad valorem is what Jim's talking about, being able to protect the city as far as if we have to put water and sewer out there, which we're going to have to if it's developed, we have a mechanism to be able to recoup some of those funds. I think that's what Jim is talking about when he's talking about protecting the city. We have an avenue and a mechanism to be able to recoup expenditure made, because there's not going to be, if it's manufacturing jobs and stuff like that, which I believe is what everybody's kind of heard, then there is no sales tax. There is no, we have no hand in that, other than being able to get some of that ad valorem through a mechanism such as a TIF.
Are we deserving of anything?
I would
As a
hope that
community.
if we help develop, put the sewer and water out there, that we would be deserving of some kind of recoupment on our investment.
I thought a developer might put the sewer and water out there.
Well, I would, if you're talking about Mr. Hitt and his development, do you remember when that came to a vote and Oscar Nelson asked him at the podium what he expected from the city if he developed that land, and he said water and sewer. That's
Okay.
been no.
So there's not adequately in place.
It's there, but we'd still have to develop it. We'd have to span the distance there to
Okay.
take it where it needs to go.
Okay. Is there any assurances for the citizen or our friends and neighbors in the community and the county, for that matter, because the county would be missing out on taxes too if a TIF were to come through? So my question is there any assurances that, don't worry, citizens, this will only affect the footprint of the airport industrial area or whatever it's going to be in the future?
I think your assurance is going to come, it has to go through the same process the last TIF, so there'll be a committee with all the taxing entities represented on that committee to put forth a TIF plan to city council to approve. And that will have clearly defined boundaries. All the taxing entities will be in agreement or not agreement, depending upon how it's presented or what the taxing entities want. But we will know all that information before a TIF just happens. It's not just going to spawn overnight. It's going to go through the same process as the last ones did.
I'll tell them myself that it was pretty uncomfortable to sit in these seats and have friends and neighbors about the community in our county come in here and know that they've been lassoed into a TIF and had no warning other than, oh, there was a legal notice. Well, that just is not really neighborly, that may happen. And there's a deep concern among a lot of folks that, okay, our first TIF in our community, it was kind of different because the landowner themselves put the land in the TIF. It did not encapsulate any non-willing participants. So I can't explain all the rights that would be taken away from the person that found themselves in their property that way, but they've lost something. And that's a big fear.
Well, as far as, to my knowledge, as it stands right now, I don't think there's going to be any properties in the proposed TIF area that doesn't want to be there.
Okay.
And I will bring up, we're sort of commingling
Yeah.
A and B right here.
Yeah, we are.
We're commingling those two items. And as far as the TIF area, the city council gets to vote to decide what that TIF area is, even after it goes through the TIF committee. The city council makes that vote. And I mean, in like the last two TIFs that we passed, you know, you and I were no voters on that. We got outvoted, and that's the way the council works. But this is a situation where, you know, to do this and do it right, we're gonna have representation who knows what they're doing, because we certainly don't, as far as that goes. But like I say, when we're having this discussion, we're sort of commingling the two different items. And, yeah, they run
They kind of go hand in hand.
But
Yeah, you're right.
one's one group and one's another group that we're voting on. So,
Right now, we're talking about the COALINE, I said that right, COALINE? Do we have a motion, a second?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Do we have any more discussion?
I'd like to thank everybody for speaking to it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Roll call?
Irving,
Yes.
Ginn,
Yes.
Hebblethwaite,
Yes.
Smith,
yes.
Alexander,
Yes.
Burris,
No.
Southard,
Yes.
Hatchett,
Yes.
Grayson.
Yes. 6B, discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve agreement for tax increment finance counsel services with the Public Finance and Law Group, PLLC, and authorize the mayor to execute the same.
Make a motion that we approve agreement for tax increment finance counsel services with the Public Finance Law Group, PLLC, and authorize the mayor to execute the same.
Second.
Discussion.
Is this group currently completed with the projects they've been hired to do before? Or is there ongoing projects that this group would have pending work or payment coming from the city?
Charlie, I'm pretty sure, and if I need to be corrected, I stand corrected, but I'm pretty sure once the TIFs were enacted, well, one was enacted, one still, once they were created, how about that?
Okay.
I believe they were done. They're not still on our payroll in any way, shape, or form that I'm
Okay.
aware of.
And this would be a totally new thing.
Correct.
And kind of the same question, would this one be limited to just what we say about, I don't see airport, well, limited to what's going to be announced on Thursday?
I believe so, because if we didn't have that going on, we wouldn't be having this conversation, in my opinion. I don't think there'd be a reason to be entering into an agreement with anybody.
And it's gonna come back to the fact, if we create a TIF, the council's gonna vote where that TIF is. I mean, and like I said, you and I got outvoted last time, but, you know, the council's gonna have the final say-so on that.
And I'll be the first one to admit, we learned some lessons on that last TIF.
I hope
you're
so.
not-
I hope
You're not
so.
wrong, Charlie. I mean, we could have handled
Friends
it
and
a lot
neighbors.
better. Yeah. Yeah, but I firmly believe everything that I know, and I don't know a whole lot, even though people think I do.
Don't either.
I don't think this is gonna involve anybody that doesn't wanna be there.
Thank you.
I was, you know, the last two TIFs, I was against those, and the way it was handled and what I thought it was gonna do. This TIF is totally different, because it is gonna be a sole owner, and it is a piece of property that sits right now that generates zero ad valorem, generates nothing. And once it's sold, then it's gonna start generating ad valorem and get it set up so that the city can get some type of revenue back from that TIF district, so.
And not only that, just like the last one says, the school, whatever the school district gets, it's protected from their,
Well,
it's not
and
counted towards their
The
income.
school gets nothing from that property right now.
Yeah.
It gets nothing. So this is the type of TIF to me that will be a win-win for everybody involved, the city, the school, the county, and the owners of the property, so.
Any more discussion? Roll call.
Ginn,
Yes.
Hebblethwaite,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Alexander,
Yes.
Burris,
No.
Southard,
Yes.
Hatchett,
Yes.
Irving,
Yes.
Grayson.
Yes. Item 6C, discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve a non-exclusive agreement for professional engineering services with Half and Associates, Inc., on a as requested basis. And on this one, I want to have the discussion up front before we entertain a motion.
Absolutely, yeah.
And a second. I know that Clark has some concerns, so I'll let him speak on this.
Yeah, in fact, the representative is here. She offered to come up and talk about it. We can, to get my terminology right, we can approve an MSA without the figures for the cost, but those costs will be at the next meeting because the MSA is totally different. But if you would kind of clarify what we have, and you saw that the forms are blank.
Yes, sir.
So,
I'm Deshawn with Half Associates out of Oklahoma City. We actually did submit our MSA contract with fees. They just didn't make it to the agenda, so Rachel's trying to pull those up. So what's before council this evening is a master services agreement with Half Associates. Task orders will be issued, and our fees will be associated with task orders. The concern was the fees were not in the council packet. So we're gonna pull those up on the TV for review. But in the meantime, you aren't signing a blank check. There was some concern from some council members that you were approving a blank check, and I can assure you that will not happen. I do appreciate you all being vigilant and protective of the wards that you all represent. This is just for the master services agreement. I do have the fees on my phone. If we can't get the TV directed towards y'all, I'm happy to pass them for you all to review. But again, they will be affiliated with each task order that's assigned. Does that help answer questions?
So is it task order dependent on what the
It
fees
is,
are?
it's
Okay.
task order dependent. We have a rate sheet, an engineering rate sheet. It's very standard. Your attorney has reviewed them, our attorney has reviewed them. It's agreed upon, but you're not signing a blank check. Again, that you're just, considering an approval of the master services agreement, but the fees will be affiliated with the task orders.
May I ask, Mr. Mayor?
Please.
I'm curious, you're able to provide services to the city?
Yes, sir.
I'm curious, did you knock on our door and say, hey, we can help you do some things, or have we contacted you about a project?
So I actually have a long history with Chickasha. My grandparents grew up in Chickasha. I've crawled around your train station long before it was considered not trespassing. I grew up coming to Chickasha, so I've always had a vested interest in this community. My aunt still lives here. But no, I actually approached Jim, Mr. Cowan, several years ago to just give me a tour of Chickasha and hear what's going on in your community. And then met Rachel, Mr. Crosby, Spencer. We came to you with some grant opportunities for the ODOT TAP pedestrian bridge downtown.
Okay.
We wrote the grant for your Phase 1 trail improvements at Shannon Springs Park, and we're still exploring grant opportunities so that we can find monetary funds to help Chickasha recognize the projects that you want completed.
Would that mean that we've already entered into an agreement at one point with your?
No, the ODOT contract it's through ODOT, so it's complicated. Chickasha will enter an agreement with ODOT. Our client is ODOT. We're doing work in Chickasha. It's almost like a highway. If a state highway is improved, the engineer isn't working for the city. They're working through that contract through ODOT. So no contract has been signed.
Okay.
We did our grant services agreement for Phase 1 in Shannon Springs Park as a complimentary service to you. So you're working with a different firm on that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So it's a little complicated what kind of motion to make exactly.
Would you like to review the rate fees?
it's right there. You
There's
bet.
2 pages. This was submitted to the city. Oh, I don't, they can't see that. There we go. Just give you a chance to review it before we scroll down.
I see, so that's why it's task specific, because it depends on who you have to put on there
Yes,
to complete, okay.
yes, sir. You ready to scroll? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Okay.
Amanda, I think Clark was asking, will there need to be any special motion made on this, or we just accept the fees as presented, or?
You would, if the council so desires, approve the agreement, and then you can approve the fees as presented, but then, of course, each task order would come before you all as well. So you would have a second look.
So for example, a task order on survey work wouldn't require a lot of these services, so our task order is specific to what the city needs.
Mr. Mayor, I'd offer a motion to approve a non-exclusive agreement for professional engineering services with Half Associates on an as-requested basis.
Second.
Any more discussion? Roll call.
Hebblethwaite,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Alexander,
Yes.
Burris,
Abstain.
Southard,
Yes.
Hatchett,
Yes.
Irving,
Yes.
Ginn,
Yes.
Grayson.
Yes. Item 6D, discussion, consideration, and possible action
Thank
to
you.
approve, thank you. Approve pay application number 1 in amount of $25,650, COC 2409, Chickasha PD Canopy to WW Builders, Inc.
I make a motion that we approve the pay application number 1 in the amount of $25,650, CLC 2409, Chickasha PD Canopy to WW Builders, Inc.
Second.
Discussion.
Is there anything visible out there yet? Is the, groundbreaking, this is just materials?
I went and looked, and no, there's not, but
Thank you.
looking at that pavement, it's basically for paying for engineering services and architectural services.
Thank you.
That's what it's for.
Any more discussion? Roll call.
Smith,
Yes.
Alexander,
Yes.
Burris,
Yes.
Southard,
Yes.
Hatchett,
Yes.
Irving,
Yes.
Ginn,
Yes.
Hebblethwaite,
Yes.
Grayson.
Yes. Item 7, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
We're adjourned. I'd like to call the Chickasha Municipal Authority to order. Need a roll call, please.
Hatchett,
Here.
Irving,
Here.
Ginn,
Here.
Hebblethwaite,
Here.
Smith,
Present.
Alexander,
Here.
Burris,
Here.
Southard,
Present.
Grayson.
Here. Item 2, consent docket.
Move we accept the consent docket as presented.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Irving,
Yes.
Ginn,
Yes.
Hebblethwaite,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Alexander,
Yes.
Burris,
Yes.
Southard,
Yes.
Hatchett,
Yes.
Grayson.
Yes. Item 4A, discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve change order number 1, CMA 2501, sanitary sewer main replacement, Colorado Avenue and 4th Street, amount of $167,819.44.
Make a motion that we approve the change order number 1 for CMA 2501, sanitary sewer main replacement, Colorado Avenue and 4th Street, in the amount of $167,819.44.
Second.
We about done with this
Well, I mean-
yet?
Final inspection's Thursday.
Okay, good. I saw they poured
Yeah.
pavement back over it.
Hopefully, it pass final inspection and the barricades will be removed. So it's a finished project.
Those cones can't take much more. They're hanging
Been a
on
long
to their dear
time.
lives, yeah. Any more discussion? Roll call.
Ginn,
Yes.
Hebblethwaite,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Alexander,
Yes.
Burris,
Yes.
Southard,
Yes.
Hatchett,
Yes.
Irving,
Yes.
Grayson.
Yes. Item 5, motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second?
We're adjourned. I'd like to call the Chickasha Municipal Airport Authority to order. Like a roll call, please.
Hatchett,
Here.
Irving,
Here.
Ginn,
Here.
Hebblethwaite,
Here.
Smith,
Present.
Alexander,
Here.
Burris,
Here.
Southard,
Present.
Grayson.
Here. Item 2, consent docket.
Make a motion that we approve as presented.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Ginn,
Yes.
Hebblethwaite,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Alexander,
Yes.
Burris,
Yes.
Southard,
Yes.
Hatchett,
Yes.
Irving,
Yes.
Grayson.
Yes. Item 4, A, discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve resolution number 2025-11R, accepting the conveyance of land from the Chickasha Industrial Authority for land located in the east half of Section 7 southeast quarter of the Section 6 Township 7 North, Range 7 West. I am Grady County, Oklahoma, as set forth in Book 2455, page 298, and Book 3091, page 433, located in the records of the Grady County Clerk.
Questions?
Yes, Charlie.
What brought this about?
Amanda? I can explain it, but it's way
Thank you.
better from her. Yeah.
Thank you.
The mic.
As this board is aware, previously, this board voted to sell a certain amount of property to OHIT Corporation. While it was in the title review process, it was determined that a strip of that land which the board had previously agreed to sell and is in fact under contract to sell was actually owned by the Chickasha Industrial Authority and not the Chickasha Municipal Airport Authority. So in order to ensure that the board was able to abide by all of the board's obligations as it pertains to the real estate contract, the Chickasha Industrial Authority voted to convey the land to the Chickasha Municipal Airport Authority.
And that was a recent occurrence?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And we don't have a description. Did I miss that? It's not the full legal.
You have the description of the land that you are being asked to consider accepting.
And we know this is a good boundary survey this time.
That is what I have been told.
So it's a rough description. It's the east half of Section 7 and the southeast of 6. So the southeast of 6 would be roughly 160 acres. And the east half of 7 would be roughly 320?
If you'll look at page 9.
I guess we don't have that, Amanda. Am I wrong, Mayor, to be on this back page of the packet?
Up right here.
Yeah, it's in a separate handout we
Oh,
got.
my gosh, okay, thank you. It's me. Sorry, Amanda.
I'm right there with you. I got like 8 things
Okay.
up here right now.
I was
Yeah.
following the meeting, and
Yep.
yes, thank you, Susan. This came later. And it does have a survey.
Yeah.
Thanks for answering my questions.
Absolutely.
I move we approve resolution number 2025-11R, accepting the conveyance of land from the Chickasha Industrial Authority for land located in the east half of Section 7, southeast quarter of Section 6, Township 7 North, Range 7 West. I am Grady County, Oklahoma, as set forth in Book 2455, page 298, and Book 3091, page 433, located in the records of the Grady County Clerk.
Second.
Any more discussion?
My question here would be, Amanda, that this has been already from the industrial authority, so this is just from the the airport authority accepting that conveyance. This is not anything,
That's correct, yes,
Okay.
and I would
I just
note
want to clarify the.
Yes, and I would note, just for the board's knowledge, is that there are different rules relating to the transfer of real property as it pertains to municipalities versus public trusts. Municipalities do have more strict requirements, but I would note what is in front of you is a transfer from a public trust.
And I know we heard from a concerned citizen earlier, but you feel that we're fully within our rights, we're good.
Yes, the trust indenture of the CIA allows for conveyances of real property, and the trust indenture of the CMAA allows for you all to hold or dispose of property, so yes.
Any more discussion? Roll call.
Pebblethwaite,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Alexander,
Yes.
Burris,
No.
Southard,
Yes.
Hatchett,
Yes.
Irving,
Yes.
Ginn,
Yes.
Grayson.
Yes, item 5, motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.